So my name is Whitney Morgan. I am the DB officer slash grant specialist for KCATA, that is the Kansas City Area Transit Authority. Well, in my role as a DB officer for KCATA, I help small businesses obtain bid on contracts. I help them learn how to get certified. So there's four different programs that we have at KCATA. First one is DBE, that stands for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. Then you have our Small Business Enterprise. So these are federal programs that were put in place in the 1980s to make sure that we are helping all companies participate fairly in their procurement process. We also have two locally based programs. So that means that based on what the project is, whether a federal project or a locally based project, funding wise, we can put a MBE, which is Minority Business Enterprise, or a Women's Business Enterprise goal on that, just to make sure that women and minority small business owners are getting a piece of the pie and making sure they're getting work and making sure they're getting the proper experience to be competitive as small businesses. What originally attracted me to a career in transportation, so to give you a little bit more background on my story, I started off as an architecture major out of high school, immediately in the master's program. So they had just created a master's program for architecture, so it was 5 years. And it was very strenuous, and I realized that I did not want to be an architect. If it was something I was passionate about, I could do it, but I couldn't do 5 years or something I didn't want to do. So I looked into other fields that were similar to architecture, urban planning, engineering, things like that. And I really fell in love with urban planning, city development, because these are things that affect all of us, but most of us don't realize that decisions are being made on our behalf. If we are at the table, even if we're not at the table, these decisions are being made. So I wanted to pursue a career and making sure that my voice can be heard when decisions are being made. And within urban planning, you have environmental, you have city development, you have many different areas, and transportation made the most sense to me just because the movement of people, the civil rights background, as far as how many people have used transportation to actually as vehicles for civil rights and to make sure that fairness and equity was passed down. So that's kind of what attracted me to transportation in general. I would say the most valuable tools for me during my career journey is belief in myself, first and foremost, because I always view myself as someone who is honestly a free agent, meaning that in this time, in this world that we live in, many of us, people in my generation, are not going to work for the same company for 40 years. So, how can you add value as an employee, a manager, an executive, whatever your position is? How can you add value during your tenure at a particular company so that you can leverage that to move on to a new company, a new opportunity? I would say belief in myself. Secondly, relationships are very important in any career path, and that is something that I've made a constant effort to cultivate and massage, because that's why one of the reasons we're probably going to talk about this, but one of the reasons why I love COMTO is I'm able to build relationships with people all across the nation who are doing great things. So relationships definitely is very important, and then obviously having the technical skills for that position is important. But I also love the fact that I majored in urban planning because the skills of being analytical, being able to have public speaking abilities, being able to talk and mingle with multiple people, executives, leadership, managers, or peers, you have to be able to do that in the urban planning world. So that definitely helped me prepare for my career as well. What's most important to next gen leaders with thinking about career paths and opportunities in transportation? I would say flexibility. Flexibility is important. The ability to move up, to the ability to actually have a fair chance to do good work and be able to move up the ladder. there's a lot of opportunity actually right now in the transportation industry. A lot of the baby boomers, a lot of the old guard, so to speak, are retiring or moving on to different career paths. So there's a lot of opportunity for people like myself to position into untraditional paths for people my age. For example, we're in the process of implementing a civil rights department at KCATA, and I'm actually going to be the director of that. So a lot of people will look at, say, this 34-year-old gentleman. How is he a director of a department? Well, I had to make a proposal, and I had to get a budget passed with the CEO and the executive board. But that took an initiative. So these are things that you can do as a next gen leader. You just have to take the initiative, leverage the proper relationships, and then once again have that belief in yourself that you can get it done. So I've been active in COMTO since 2013. My first conference was in Jacksonville, I believe. So COMTO was something that was introduced to me by a colleague, Daryl Fields. I used to work at MARC, the Mid America Regional Council, which is the Metropolitan Planning Organization for Kansas City. Sorry, I'm using a lot of acronyms, but that's the world I live in. So I was a transportation planner. Uh, During this time, and Daryl was a senior transportation planner, and then he just put it on my desk. He said, "Hey, you should check this out. I'm a young planner. I didn't really know much about anything." And he said, you should check out this organization. So I looked into the website. I asked for approval to attend the conference. I was able to go to the conference, and I've been in love with COMTO ever since. Just being able to connect with people all across the nation who are doing great things, who look like me, have a similar background. And it built a network for me within transportation that I rely on all the time. And it's been a great thing for me. Other way that COMTO has benefited me, going back to the civil rights discussion, right? So prior to that, I was put in position as a president very early on in my tenure as COMTO because I was the one who actually created our website. I saw a need and I implemented it, and a lot of the older members saw that as a benefit. So they actually nominated me to become president of the chapter as being the youngest member, and I was actually approved in that. And I actually served 4 years as the chapter president of COMTO Kansas City. I really enjoyed that time. I really enjoyed that tenure. And now we're in the process of bringing on a new president. But that benefited me so much because it gave me the belief once again and the ability to know that I can be a leader of people who are older than me, people who are more seasoned than I am, and I can learn a lot from them in the process. And it really can benefit me in my personal growth and development, but also my career path is being able to leverage those relationships within COMTO. Another way I've benefited as being a member of COMTO is just being able to travel, and I love our conferences. I have to speak to our in-person conferences. They are the best conferences of any conference. I go to B2G now. I don't want to name a bunch of organizations, but yeah, COMTO. I really love COMTO's conferences. Being able to mingle, learn about different companies and organizations, meeting new people, having fun because we definitely have fun at our conferences, and then once again being in a position to present or invest in our youth. I really love our city interns program, and I've been a speaker and helped out with that. Emerging Leaders Committee. These are all things that COMTO has available for young professionals as myself to help us grow and nourish us in our transportation careers. If I had any advice for someone who is an up and coming transportation leader, I would say is get a mentor, whether that is an actual person who agrees to be your mentor, or just find somebody that you admire and follow them from afar. Because I have plenty of mentors who wouldn't know that they're a mentor to me, but I admire them and I follow their path because I see something in them that I want to mirror, that I want to do. So I would definitely say get a mentor and just in general, follow people who've already done what you want to do. So if there's someone that is in a career path or that's why COMTO was great because we're able to see people specifically who are doing things that we may want to do in the future, and it makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot more believable when you can see someone who looks like you, who doing great thing in a certain position. So have that belief, get a mentor, and really look at some of the great leaders that we have in COMTO and follow their path. Get in touch with them. Leverage the COMTO national conferences, like I mentioned before. They need to know who you are. They need to know who you are and what you do, and that way they'll be able to vouch for you and help you move up in your career or different opportunities if they know who you are, what you do, and what you're passionate about. Because I've had plenty of people within COMTO who have helped me out in different various ways because they knew who I was and they knew what I'm passionate about. So as a young up and coming leader, you have to make yourself known. And once again, I'm gonna draw back to belief. You have to believe in yourself and you have to take action. We are leaders because we go beyond just the job description, right? So we have to do more than just your average employee. You don't get on a call like this with a next gen leadership call if you're not someone doing above and beyond what is required. The future of transportation looks like to me is there's a lot of new technology. There's a lot of new things, electronic vehicles, autonomous vehicles, electric buses, drone usage. There's a lot of different things technologically wise that we're advancing in. And I just want to make sure I play my part and make sure that a lot of the COMTO membership, when we have small business leadership, that we make sure that transportation is equitable and fair for everybody that's included. This is a fight that we've been fighting for a long time, and I would hope that our future transportation, with the advancement of all the technology, that we're able to make sure that all parties, all communities, all people are able to take advantage of the advances that we've been having in transportation.